Hello again!
Hello.
On. Right then, so we were talking about, Bruce was talking about Bethesda or ID.
Bethesda.
Yeah, that's what I said. Let's actually, since it's like Doom's 20th anniversary, how did you first go into Doom then, Bruce?
We had a Windows 3.1 PC, and I had, back in 1993, or 1994 rather, because it was December 1993 the first one was out, so
Yeah.
it was just after Christmas. My dad had this really old shitey computer for doing some of his audio work on. He's even, I mean, our old house had this, you know, our house in Lane Kilns, its garage was converted into a sound studio. It was actually, you know, proper insulated with like carpet on the walls and stuff like that. It was actually, if you look back, it's actually really, really good. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I would be.
And then Dad had this equipment here. Even had like I think like some sort of Korg keyboard and everything. I remember me and Jimmy used to have to faff around and used to fight over it and stuff. But we had this 3.1 PC, and I remember just after Christmas, I think like, I don't know how we procured a copy of the game, but we had the floppy disk version of Doom.
Yeah.
And I can remember it being in the big box, and it was like, I think it was like 4 or 5 floppy disks, and you had to put them in sequentially at certain points and things like that. And this is back before we had like Sound Blaster audio cards, so like it was playing like the sound effects. The sound effects you get were ridiculous. Like there was no music; it was just like electronic bleeps and bloops and stuff like that. And
That was on the PC speaker setting, wasn't it?
yeah, because well, we didn't have like Sound Blaster cards back then. Well, you could get them. I think they were readily available, but you know, I think we were maybe a little underprivileged to have something that was considered a luxury back then, but it's now a fucking staple in most PCs. But yeah, that's how I first got into it. And then I think like I just sort of really forgot about it for many years because I was too busy playing things like the Sega Genesis and the Nintendo and
Saturn.
the Saturn and well as they progressively were released, yeah. And then it was only really until when the PlayStation came out and they brought out Doom on it, and
Yeah.
I was like, hang on a second, yeah, I remember playing this, but what's with the music? Why
it was more eerie.
why is the music the most terrifying thing I've ever seen? It's like the absolute living embodiment of nightmare fuel. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it was just, what?
Oh, 7 health, Michael.
Yeah, you're trying.
And the graphics had a bit more colour in them as well, compared to the original versions on PC.
Aye. Well, in their own right they were. I mean, they were sort of reworked to work with, you know, the PlayStation hardware and the Saturn hardware. But you know, then.
That's where I first seen it, the Saturn and the PlayStation.
So you were brought in kind of late to it.
Yeah.
Well, that's fair enough. What about you, Sean?
I was first into Doom, exactly when you were saying when the PlayStation version of Doom came out, when we went to Toys R Us, but in Musselburgh, and we got, managed to get by me a PlayStation for my Christmas, and it came 5 free games, and Doom was one of them. And I actually stopped playing it for a year because I stopped playing it for a year because I got total freaked out when Doom Guy's head just exploded when I always kept on getting killed at that level 7. Mind of the is it the Barons of Hell? And that completely scared me back then, and I didn't play it for like a year, and then all of a sudden I just got back into it.
What about you, Sharpie? Yours was a pretty brief explanation, actually. It's like I
Yeah,
got it on the PlayStation. Hello.
My brother, he had the console, the Sega Saturn, and he brought it around for my brother and I to play, and just turned it on. Blown away ever since.
The Sega Saturn version of Doom. Does he still have it?
No.
I just got
I've
the
got a Sega Saturn
teleport
myself.
thingy.
No.
Covered everything here.
Alright.
And I've got the Saturn version of Doom.
Oh, you've got it anyway. I
Yeah.
was going to say, like, we have to fucking procure that off him, but if you've already got it, it doesn't really matter. My god. And then, I remember, yeah, I had a little bit of experience with the PlayStation version. And I was like, hang on, this has got Doom 2 in it as well. And like, oh, right.
Yeah.
That's like, I think that's sort of the equivalent of like a value pack or something, but for at the time, the modern day. And then, I remember when the Nintendo 64 was announced, and I got this little video with a magazine.
That came out in '97, didn't it?
Yeah, I got this little video, which it was like a sort of, I think it was like, basically the equivalent of YouTube trailers today. We used to have to get like magazines with like really bad video cassettes in them and stuff. And Doom 64 was showcased in it. I was like, oh, have they ported over Doom to then 64? And I was like, no, they've actually made new levels and stuff. I'm like, oh fuck. Oh no. Oh. So I was
And the
like,
monsters have been done up.
yeah, and everything looked different, and not in a bad way, of course. I really liked the design of everything in that. So that's kind of like, yeah. And then you know how I feel about Doom 3. Fucking adore it and shit.
Well, since you watched that IGN video of John Romero, would you find it quite interesting to hear his opinions on Doom 3?
Yeah.
Like saying he couldn't be bothered watching it because it was like zombies coming from behind and all that, instead of like seeing zombies coming through the doors like on this game.
I can understand that. Well, because I think his original Doom was like his brainchild. And I think it just depends on like how you grow up with these games. Some people don't like reboots, or I mean, Doom 3 was meant to be a sequel, but at the same time it was treated as a reboot because of how, you know, aesthetically different it was compared to the first two games. Because I mean, Doom 1 and 2 look identical to one another. Like, you were to put two screenshots side by side, you'd be able to say, oh, it looks the same, because it's the same engine, it's the same HUD, it's the same weaponry, and it's the same monsters. But you know, some people just don't like the way games evolve graphically. You know, they consider it only an aesthetic change, whereas like, you know, some people embrace the new games for what they are. And I mean, for example, for me, I was always excited for Doom 3 to come out because, like, yeah, I fell for the marketing ploy of like the eye candy like graphics and stuff like that, and then how it turned out to be just a sort of gimmick. Like, it didn't really add a lot of suspense to the gameplay and stuff like that, but I still loved it regardless. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. I still love Doom 3 no matter what though.
That's your favourite, isn't it? Out of this, the Doom series.
God blimey, Michael.
Yeah. Alright,
Well then.
next.